Hey everybody, this is John. Welcome to the free video, and let's take a look at where we are. So we're going to look here at a weekly chart and a daily chart. And you can see on the weekly chart on the S&Ps, we're definitely comfortably above the 21 period moving average, but the credit sniper sell is still in range. On the daily chart, we got a credit sniper sell, and this morning we actually pushed comfortably through that 21, but we did kind of close the deal by the close and managed to close above it. How this works is that if we get a close below, sorry, I got a hiccup here. If we close below the 21 tomorrow, that actually, and we have this credit sniper sell, that actually does line up with the legitimate sell signal. Okay, so we want to kind of see how that works. If we go over here and we look at the Qs or NASDAQ, whichever one you want to look at, you can see the Qs are fine. We still have those sell figures, but it's okay. And the one thing I'm a little nervous about is that, the power was building up here in the squeeze, but now the power's gone. And same thing here. So, it's one of those things here where the market is definitely, after having a nice little pop here, is having a mixed message. So that being said, what are some stocks here that look pretty good? One stock I like here a lot is EA, Electronic Arts. Now, it does have earnings tomorrow after the close, but you can see that the power here behind the squeeze is formidable. So we should see at least a rally, into earnings. But with this setup too, and you can see a little bit of a buildup of power here in the squeeze, the odds are fairly high that we'll get a continuation move higher. Now that doesn't mean that buying calls and holding through earnings is a good idea, because we know that the implied volatility drop will be severe. But I'm certainly looking at selling some puts that expire this week with the idea that EA would move sideways to higher after earnings. Also looking at potentially buying some stock to hold through earnings with some puts in place as insurance in case it has a crazy move down. But I love the setup here. For Costco, which is a position that we have, this was an interesting one because we had a long call here and a put credit spread. Now, when it lost power here in the squeeze, and you can see that also corresponded with the dip below the 21, we got rid of our long call, but we kept the put credit spread. So that's one of the ways that I like to use this power indicator is like, okay, great, we lost power, so we're not looking for that pop anymore in terms of direction, so we wouldn't want to have exposure to a time decaying asset like a long call, but holding on to a put credit spread is still fine. And we've got an order to buy this back at 80% of max profit, which is 25 cents. Some other stocks that are building up some interesting power here. Morgan Stanley on the daily chart. Lots of power setting up here. And another one here, COF, cough. I would just call it cough. Same thing, lots of power setting up here as well. When you see this power setting up while a squeeze is happening, it typically means a bigger move is setting up. And also, if you look at the correlation tool, it is the strongest in its class. Also, a very, very good sign. Compare this with McDonald's that has no power setting up. When I see something like this, not only does it typically mean that the squeeze is going to be a dud, from a directional perspective, but it means it's something I want to go find something else. Find something that's going to actually have an impact. As an example here, you can see Micron Technologies on the daily chart and on the weekly chart. When it had squeeze with power, it had a good move. Okay, squeeze with power, a good move. Contrast this with this. So you can see here on F5, when you get here's the heads up, okay, we may get a big move here, get ready. And then when you get the green power after it's fired, boom, you got confirmation to hold on for the ride. Versus right here where there's a squeeze, okay, potential power, but once it triggered, nothing. Okay, what happened? No movement. So if you bought calls on this, it was horrible. And so when I see something like this and there's no power, it just allows you the opportunity to get out for a small gain and move on to where something has a little bit of power. For those of you that are interested about these indicators and want to find out how they work and what they mean, I'm going to be doing a free webinar tomorrow on Tuesday. That's January 31st, last trading day of January at 6 o'clock Central. That's 7 East Coast time. And what I'm going to be talking about is essentially it's not only the indicators and how they work, which is useful in and of itself, if it's something if it's a tool that you like and that you're using, but it's just kind of like why they work, why it how it just kind of it goes above and beyond what the algorithms are trying to do and how they're kind of like trying to trick us. It unmasks those tricks, right? So that makes it easier. But also just the whole idea of the power behind the squeezes, I found that to be very, very powerful because you may have 10 squeezes and 7 out of 10 work, but 3 out of those 10 will be these huge moves. Those are the ones that I want to know about. Those are the ones that I want to prep for, right? So that's what I like. So anyway, again, this is free. You can log in right there. There's more details down here if you want to read it, but just go to simplertrading.com/spy. It'll be a fun webinar, and I look forward to seeing you guys there tomorrow night.